Welcome to learning about Microvellum Solid Modeling tools. This is the first video in a series of videos where I'll be creating 3D solids from 2D section drawings. I'll be starting off by using the Extruded Product Builder drawing template to show how someone can quickly get familiar with this feature by using the examples that are already set up with smart layers. What are smart layers? Well, let me show you. Included in the Microvellum shipping library is a template that can be used to learn how the solid modeling tools and smart layers work when building extruded products in Toolbox. When you open a new room in a project, you're asked to pick from a list of templates. The Extruded Product Builder template is the one with a set of 2D drawings to help you get started. So let's go ahead and start by opening this new room and get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about are the two different viewports. Now these viewports can have different view angles and can be adjusted by dragging this grip point. If you want to change it back to a single viewport, inside of the big blue buttons on the Microvellum palette, you have the option to change the viewports back to a single or set them up any way that you want. Now the next are the construction paths on the right side. So these are polylines that will become the path for the extruded products. In the left viewport are the different 2D section drawings. The 2D objects have specific layers assigned to them called smart layers. Now I'll get to what smart layers are in just a second. But before I get into that, I want to show you where some of the program settings are for the Solid Modeling Analyzer. This is what allows you to turn these extruded parts into a real Microvellum product. So we'll go to Toolbox Setup and Options, and under the Solid Analyzation tab are the different settings here. Now any 3D object that falls within these parameters will be properly analyzed by Toolbox Solid Model Analyzer. Any 3D solids that fall outside won't be analyzed, and you can tell because it'll be highlighted with this exception color. For part naming, there are a couple different options. I usually leave it on automatic, so I can name the part however I like when it comes to assigning the correct smart layer. Now because this template is already set up with smart layers assigned to the 2D drawings, you can immediately start learning how to extrude a product along one of these construction paths. The first thing to do is open up the Solid Modeling Tools palette. Then under the tree view is where you can start adding new products. Right-click and add a new product. This is where you'll give it a name and which product type it'll be. Now there are some other product types in here, but for this training and honestly for most of the products that get built with these tools, the type will be the Extruded Product Starter. And after that's done, pick a construction path. It can be any one of these in this drawing, but just to keep it simple, I'll pick this straight one here. Okay, so we just created a product. Now it's time to start adding the different parts. Right-click again on either the extruded or vertical parts, it really doesn't matter which one. And then draw a window around all the 2D objects of the cross-section drawing. And voila, 3D solids have been created from a 2D drawing. And this is possible because of those smart layers that I mentioned earlier. These smart layers contain properties that control how the parts will behave as they get extruded along the selected construction path. If you need to make any edits, you can right-click to open the menu. Now this part's smart layer is telling it that the material to be used is plywood and that the max length of the part is just under 8 feet. Now when I open up the Smart Layer Manager, which can be set up prior to doing any drawing, you can see there are already a bunch of layers. Now all of these have been set up with different properties, so when you have a vertical or extruded entity, one of these layers can be assigned to them. Some are for the different construction methods that you can add to vertical parts, and others are the material type and different offset amounts you can apply to the extruded parts. And as you're going through the process and you need to make any edits to these layers, it can be done through the Smart Layer Manager palette. Okay, now I just want to go through adding a couple more die walls to this drawing, just to show how simple it is to turn a 2D cross-section into 3D solids that follow along a specific path. Just like that. Okay, so you can see how this is following now this radius construction path, and because of the Smart Layer settings, it's putting a joint based on that max length. But what if I want to change the location of where those joints are? The first thing that I'm going to need to do is find the part that I want to edit. Now this little target button up here in the corner is a cool little feature. Select this, and then the part that you're looking to edit, and it expands it inside of this tree view. So we can do this two ways. One way I'll talk about in an upcoming video, but for now I want to go over how you can do it by updating the properties of the Smart Layer. So by changing that max length to something crazy like 9,999 inches, we'll make sure that we don't get any joints. Now that will mean that you need to use the extruded tools to add those joints back in wherever you want. Or if there's going to be vertical grain on these panels and they can't exceed 4 feet, you can set it to just under that, and now there are multiple panels below that top. Okay, and now for the last one, I'll pick something a little different. Here we have a drawing of a bench seat. Same thing as before, adding the extruded and vertical parts. Now this one is asking for me to assign a smart layer because it can't find it in the list. I'm going to skip these both for now and get back to them in a later video. In that video, I'll show you how we can add a buyout material to be used for these cushions. But for now, just go ahead and let it draw as is. And there we have the frame for this bench seat construction. All right, well, that'll do it for the first video in our series on working with Microvellum Solid Modeling tools. To keep learning more, stay tuned for the next video in the series, where I'll take 6 rectangles and turn them into a Microvellum product. I'll see you there.